Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Man Behind Ministry podcast. I am your host, Minister Ryan Smith of the Virgin Street Church. Listen, if you haven't already done so, you should by now already know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, so that way whenever we release another episode, you'll be the first one to get it. I don't call too many people my best friend. I got a bunch of friends, but I only got a few friends. There was one minister that the guest and myself know. He made a good point. He said, every minister needs at least one friend that you can talk to about anything. No judgment, no shade, just unfiltered conversation. You can talk to them about anything. This next guest is that one person that I can talk to about anything. And that is none other than my boy, the minister and pastor to the Mesa Church of Christ in Mesa, Arizona. And so we're definitely excited to have him on. We look forward to the knowledge and insight that he is going to give to us. We're not going to waste any more time, man. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. Pastor Gills, how you doing?
Man, it's a great day here in Arizona, man. How you doing?
Feeling pretty good, man. Over in Oklahoma, I'm sure the weather there's a big disparity in it too.
Oh, absolutely, man. I think we got to about 68 degrees today, man. It was an awesome day.
Yeah, that's not our reality. That's not our reality at all,
Hey,
man.
hey, man. I remember the days, bro.
Yes, sir. Nevertheless, man, it's great to have you, um, on the show personally, man. We talk pretty much every day, and so this is really nothing new for us. It's just new for everyone else watching tonight. But still, nevertheless,
Right,
man, it's just great to have you on tonight.
man. It's good to be here, man.
Yeah, you know how it
Good
is
to
from
be here.
minister to minister. Schedule's often booked with church and ministry. Then if it's not there, you got your first ministry. Yeah, and you got a big family, so yeah, it's always demanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we're not gonna waste no more time, man. So let's go ahead and jump into it, man. You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
but let's get it. All right, you like I said, you're my boy, your best friend. You are a local and a native of Dallas, Texas, and so with that being from the Dallas West congregation, right there in Dallas, you predominantly grew up at a black congregation. But now you pastor a predominantly white congregation. So can you tell us any similarities or differences between the two?
Man, absolutely. So, you find that there are, um, from an outside perspective looking in, you would think that there's a lot of differences between the two of them.
Hmm.
But when you get into the same seat that you sat in with a predominantly black congregation with a predominantly white congregation, you actually find that there are no differences. Honestly, it's just people trying to do ministry. And one thing that I think that is very interesting is that both sides are accelerated in different areas. There are things that the predominantly black church is good at that the predominantly white church struggles with, and vice versa. And so yeah, there's a lot of similarities to it. There is a lot of there's a lot of things that people would be upset with on either side. And so, man, for me, it's just been a blessing, man, to be able to go through this experience and see both sides. Because I think at this point, man, if you can pastor a black church, or if you can pastor a white church, if you can pastor any church, you can be successful,
I like
no
that.
matter
I
where
like
you are.
that. Yeah, I mean that's great perspective because I know um, with that you're also in a unique spot because typically, I guess I'll just say in my area, from what I've seen growing up, if you have a predominantly white congregation, normally the minister is white, but they may have a African American music minister. That's normally what you see. But you're in a unique spot to where, as the actual face of the congregation, God's man is actually African American, so you're in a very unique spot. How does it feel knowing that you're in rare territory? If that makes sense.
Yeah. So this church has been in existence for 79 years,
Hmm.
and I am the first African American um, lead minister here.
Wow.
And so it is very unique. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that has not happened here in the Valley at all. It is it's a trailblazing experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this point in the game, I've just decided that, this is God has chosen me to trailblaze this path for many men behind me. And so in trailblazing, you understand that there is a lot that comes with that. There's a lot of bumps and bruises that the next man behind you won't have to take because you have to take it. And so, man, it's been a joyous experience, but it hasn't been an experience that's just been smooth. There has already been rough patches, and I've only been doing it for 6 months.
Hmm.
So I just look forward to continue to blazing the trail for the man behind me.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Anytime you're dealing with people, you're gonna have some stuff. I mean, white, black, don't matter. People is just no one's perfect. The
Absolutely.
concept, and we know the concept, structure, and design of the church is flawless, but the individuals that make up the body, we teach and preach all the time, and so we see that manifest regardless of the skin color, regardless of the background. It doesn't matter. You're gonna have some issues, even if that issue, whether it's coming from the
Absolutely.
people or coming from us. Sometimes we're the problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If we're honest.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So
Nice.
so yeah, but that's kind of what it is. It's no different, man. You just have to be who you're called to be, to
Mm-hmm.
step into a position into a position in a predicament like this. And man, if you listen and follow God, man, it's just like any other place.
Nice. Okay. Good stuff, man. Let's kind of navigate away from ministry for a second, man. You, when you're not preaching, when you say your final prayer, you give your final amen. When you're not in the sacred text studying or preparing a lesson of any kind, what's Jeremy doing? What are your hobbies, man? What are you interested in outside of ministry?
Man, so man, at a previous stop in ministry, I bowled every Tuesday night. Also in that stop in ministry, I went and played golf on Fridays
Okay.
until it got cold, and then I just immediately got out of that because it just wasn't gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It was just too cold to do that. But for me, honestly, it's just spending time with family, man. It's watching my kids thrive, and when they're not here, man, I have a PS5 that occupies my time a lot.
Okay.
So, I'm, you try to do the family thing, man. But I'm into gaming. I'm a big Apple head.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Salute.
into all types of technology. And yeah, man, just trying to keep my mind sharp. That's really what I do off camera. Is I just try to keep my mind sharp, and keep doing what I do to keep my mind sharp. And that's just to explore different avenues of things that I just don't know.
Okay. Okay. Good stuff. Yeah, I can attest to that. I got a Xbox that I ain't touched since my baby was born, so it's just sitting there. I got a little time, so I'm gonna try to get back into it just to kind of get that me time going again. But yeah, with a newborn, we in the same boat. It's
Absolutely,
yeah, they take over.
absolutely, absolutely. I haven't played it in 7 weeks, man, and I'm kind of fiending right now. So,
Yep.
I need to fix this fix real quick.
Hey, I feel you. I feel that. I feel that. Okay. Um, Stick, you talked. We just kind of got on family, so you are the epitome of a family man. Those who know Jeremy know exactly what I'm talking about. But of course, we got this running joke, man. You about to get to 10, and so you have.
Right.
God has blessed you, man. Seriously, God has blessed you with an awesome family. Your wife Tammy, that's my sister. That's sis. Your children, those are my nieces and nephews, man. And so I've seen them pretty much at every stop that you've been at, whether it was Louisiana, Kansas. We hadn't got to Arizona yet, but that's on the way. So
Right.
those are
Right.
my nieces and nephews, and I got the pictures to prove it. But with
Yeah. Yeah.
but with family and ministry, like how do you balance the first and second ministry, man? It's got to be tough.
Man. So yeah. So the one thing I do is I don't try to balance it,
Okay.
because from week to week it's gonna look different. The goal every week is for my first ministry to win out. That's the goal
Mm,
every single week.
that's
So
good.
I try not to balance anything, man, because the goal every week, regardless as to what's happening at the church building, my first ministry has to win out. And so you have to set certain days that you say, okay, well, if the second ministry is going to win, it's going to be this day and this day.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you always still try to find ways to get that first ministry that priority.
That primary.
And yeah. So for me, man, I don't balance it. Honestly, I walk into every day saying my first ministry is going to win the day, because I know that if I can do my first ministry well, that God will bless in whatever time is left
Mm-hmm.
to do the second ministry well. And so far, man, every stop that we've been at, whether it was Louisiana or whether it was Kansas or whether it's here in Arizona, and you would think that we wouldn't be able to see results so far, but man, we've
Mm-hmm.
within the 6 months, man, we've seen results already, and God is providing avenues for us to be successful wherever we go. And so at this point, man, you just take care of what God has put in front of you first, and I believe that, man, God would provide the time for you to take care of the second one.
That's good. I never looked at it that way. I mean, obviously, I never had to, 'cause I'm just now getting, to establishing a family, because we always talking about it's a balance, but that's true. Um, that first ministry, the family has to be the priority. There are
Yep.
times where you make sacrifices, obviously, because of what we do. We have to, and the family makes
Right.
sacrifices as well. But majority of the time, that family has to be the priority, and that's biblical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, a great indicator or determining factor of the quality of leader you have is, hey, look at his family life.
Absolutely.
Look at that first
Absolutely.
ministry.
And even when you make the sacrifices, you find a way for your first ministry to even win out still,
Mm-hmm.
even when the sacrifices have to be made. And so you say, okay, well, if I got to make a sacrifice today, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to give my family an opportunity to spend time with me somewhere else that they typically may not be able to do
Mm-hmm.
such. And so if I make a sacrifice for the church, I believe that the same thing has to then go back and happen with that first
There you go.
ministry
There you go.
as well, because you got to keep it into perspective, man. That second ministry ain't even yours anyway. You're just a servant to
Mm-hmm.
that ministry.
Yeah.
And so God provides, man. And so I don't fight that anymore, because I used to put the church first. It was
Mm-hmm.
always church and church and church and church. And man, I learned, man, from talking to a preacher. He just straight up told me, he said, man, at the end of the day, man, you better look after the people that's gonna be there.
There you go.
And that stuck with me.
There you go.
So yeah, man.
I love it. One minister said, if you left the congregation, they can find another minister, but your kids, they can't find another daddy.
There you go.
So that makes perfect sense. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, um, getting in just to the modern age of ministry. When you look in the '90s and before, especially in our religious group, church online wasn't a thing. Uh,
Right.
I know there are some churches that are still using chalkboards and dry erase boards.
Hmm.
But in the realm of modern ministry, obviously we're in our 30s. It is abundantly clear that church online is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Um, there will be some people who it will take them a while if they ever decide to step back into the physical edifice of the church building. And so, with the challenge of just trying to navigate both the in-person and online experience, I'm just curious, how has your congregation just managed the two?
Man, honestly, I think my leaders here haven't embraced it. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
at one point it was, let's get back to the building, let's get back to the building, let's get back to the building. But now I think that, they've understood, okay, we're not going to get everybody back here. We're going to just have people who are online. And so they now have this idea, well, let's just invest in the online. Let's invest in that experience online. Let's try to make that experience online just as great as the experience in person.
Yeah.
And one of the comments that we got, even just this past Sunday, was how great and improved our live stream experience has been.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, every leadership, every man of God has to just come to that conclusion that if you don't embrace it and invest in it, then you're going to lose your reach to somebody else.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be ministries now that are going to invest in it, and so people are going to go flock to who is investing in them
Mm-hmm.
where they are right now.
Right.
And so it's the same thing as it is in person. When we were in person, 2019 and before, um, we were investing in people. And so just because they're now online doesn't mean that we have to stop investing in people. Because if we stop investing in them now, they're going to find some place to go that will invest in their online experience. And so that's what I appreciate about our leadership here, is that, man, they're willing to get on board and continue to invest
Yeah.
in the people.
And that makes perfect sense. One minister said, like, hey, you have to, and ministry is tough because we have the daunting task of trying to reach every generation. But when you talk about moving forward, you have to reach the generation that is going to be here as
Mhm.
generations age and transition. And so it's tough. And also it's a challenge. You talk about investing in people, and it's good because when you think about our generation, especially even more so than us, those coming up, so many hours is spent and consumed by your phone, your tablet, technology, a mobile device. And so I think it is wise of our congregations, regardless of who you are, to make that investment. And I'll give you testimony of my treasure request. When being at our age, a lot of our leadership is going to be a little bit older than us, right? And my treasure, brother Ricky, when I first got there, technologically illiterate. And so a lot of things that we do now, he's not where we need him to be, but he's really getting up to speed. And so he's come a long way. But one of the things he said that really blessed us and really got us to where we are. We still got a ways to go, but he said, "Man, look, I may be technologically illiterate. That doesn't mean the church has to be." And so I think for those who may be watching, or maybe a little older, or may say, I don't really understand, and that's okay. I mean, if you go back into your generation, there are some things that happened as first in your time that maybe the generation before you didn't understand either. And so now
Absolutely.
it's about, hey, as it's said all the time, it's not, we continue the same message. We're just adjusting the method. And
Absolutely.
and so we have to keep that same energy when it
Yeah.
comes to technology. I think the issue is good technology costs money.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
I think it can't be just because you don't see the value, and it doesn't mean that there is a whole other population and demographic who does. So
Right.
I like
Right.
that.
Absolutely. So yeah, man, it's all, like I say, it's all about investing in people. And if you don't take the generation behind you serious, you'll look up one day and your church will have 30 people in it.
There you
And
go.
you'd be wondering, well, how did we get here? And it's because you forgot to invest in where they were
Hmm.
instead of trying to get them to come where you are.
Right. And I think just we know growth happens in phases. To the church that may just have 30 right now,
Hmm.
that's not a bad thing if you got 50 online.
There you go.
So
There
you
you go.
have a space where now you can preferably convert some of those online who are local because that's the goal. I believe you can't reach your full potential growth without physically. We're not saying that. I want to be clear in what we're saying. We're not saying that just because church online is here to stay, that does not mean that the in-person experience is going anywhere.
Absolutely.
In-person worship, physical gatherings will never be antiquated. I mean, that's with anything. That's church. You can't sell out. And for example, if you take, we're football fans, you see the Cowboys on me, respect the star, you see it. The Cowboys would not be the dynamic team they are, or any sports team, for example, without a physical audience.
Absolutely.
So church is the same way. You have your people who
Absolutely.
watch on TV, online, but the best experience, and we went to a game last year, that home opener,
Mm-hmm.
hey,
Mm-hmm.
ain't
Mm-hmm.
it way better than TV. Especially when they
Way
win.
better than TV.
Especially
Yes,
when they
indeed.
win.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I think what's also good that to add to that is the fact that, man, at some point in time, you know, we have to adapt the mindset of the Apostle Paul, where he says, "Listen, I became all things
There you go.
to all men,
Mm-hmm.
that I might save some." And so, investing in the people who are online, you are becoming, or you are literally going where they are,
Yep.
in hopes that you can help them kind of move along. And in essence, don't shun them before you know them.
There you go.
That's really the key to it all, is invest in them, know them, so that you can show them the importance of the physical gathering of fellowship with one another.
I like that. One more comment, and we'll move to the next one. Well, let me know, like, this thing is really impactful. We had a service one time, and a guy commented, was like, "Yo, I'm watching you from Spain," and we were like, "What?" So like you said from the jump, that reach, you have a greater reach. You're able to better fulfill the Great Commission to go.
Absolutely.
Trust me, if Paul could send out a text or email, it would greatly impact his missionary journeys.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Nice, man. Nice. Get more for me. I'm a big movie buff, and so I love a good origin story. I love the foundation really of anything, because that greatly tells a story of where this person, not only their start, but it affects their path, right? So for Jeremy, what's the origin? What's the foundation? What got Jeremy into ministry and preaching?
Man, my story is terrible. Honestly, man, I was hanging around. Oh, when was that? I was hanging around Jamel Hamilton,
Mm-hmm.
minister at the Mountain View Church, probably 2007, 2008.
Okay.
And he challenged me into teaching a lesson on a Wednesday night. And man, I had no idea what I was doing, but I was, at his house, and, and he kind of just walked me through some things of how he analyzed scripture. And man, I was like, yo, that is dope, man. Like, I want to do that. I want to be able to do that. And he's like, man, you should give it a shot. And I was like, all right. And, the Wednesday that I did the lesson, man, it was absolutely terrible. I mean, it was so bad that I said, I'll never do this again. Like, I would never do this again. And he said, man, you know what? I think, because at the time he was always moving around, he was always traveling, so he really didn't have a lot of time. And so he said, I think you would do well going to Southwestern. And I had heard about Southwestern. I had heard about the living conditions and the dorms. And
Okay.
I was like, dude, there's no way I'm going to Southwestern. And he was like, man, I think you should go. And I think that will establish you a pathway of
Mm-hmm.
how to enter this thing if you want to do it.
Yep.
Man, I prayed about it and I said, I'm gonna try it, and if I don't like get the first semester, then I'll give up on it. But man, I met some pretty cool dudes, man, at Southwestern who they don't know that I was watching them at the time, man. I was watching them for inspiration.
Yep.
Guys like you and Stephen Bryce and
Mm-hmm.
Chris Dardar and Brandon Mims and David Watt. Dude, I was just watching guys for inspiration. I'll never forget, man. I preached in the roundhouse. My first sermon.
Church of
What
Christ, baby.
in
Let's
hell
get it.
do you want? Yeah, man. What
Yeah.
in hell do you want when heaven has all you need?
And
And the sermon was terrible. It was terrible.
But we gonna push you.
Yeah, but it was so bad, and everybody's hyped up and saying all yeah, go ahead. And I'm thinking, dude, what are y'all talking about? This is terrible. But man, honestly, it was one instance in the roundhouse, man, where we were talking about the bass mic,
Mm-hmm.
and it was that night that Brandon Mims basically told us, man, y'all are some no good preachers, man. Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all can't preach. Y'all don't know scripture, yada yada yada. It was that night that I said to myself, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna figure out what my delivery looks like. I'm gonna figure out the study. I'm gonna figure it all out. And I went back and I took what Jamel gave me and I applied it to what I was given at Southwestern. And man, it's like I did 4 years in Louisiana. That was kind of up and down,
Mm-hmm.
as far as ministry is concerned. But man, when I went to Kansas, I just took off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's my story, man. It was an argument that made me say, we finna do this.
Yeah, it's one of those like, man, okay, don't tell me what I'm not because I'll show you what I am,
There
but
you
also
go.
too, one thing I learned from a young age, and you can probably attest to it as well, especially being at Southwestern, and something unique about it is very much, you have your administration and your staff who, kind of lay the groundwork for you, but man, your spiritual growth is very much like peer driven.
Absolutely.
And so Southwestern was great at preparing us, because I learned if you can preach in front of your peers, you can preach in front of anybody, because these are the people who know you, who see you before you come to the roundhouse or come to the chapel building. They like, okay, he got on a suit now, but we in the dorm with him. You know what I'm saying? We in Ox with him. We in the cottage with him.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what he got to say?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it
Yeah.
makes you it made you step your game up. It really did, man. And so those were some great experiences, man. I had one I want to throw at you. I always try to, make it authentic and genuine, man. You are a singing preacher,
Yeah.
and there are some critics in the
Yeah.
brotherhood. Some maybe even, I don't know. I've never been to Mesa. Maybe even some at your church, man. Like what, to where they're critical of your preaching, critical of your singing, or how do you handle that, man? Because a lot of times, there's jealousy involved. I mean, there's so much that happens, when you talk about being multi-talented.
Yeah. So, man, I remember watching a clip at Southwestern of Pastor Jamal Bryant,
Mm-hmm.
and man, he had messed up bad, man. I mean, he messed up bad. But the one thing that he said in the sermon after the fact that actually motivates me even to this moment is that if you leave, I'm still gonna be preaching. If you decide that you're gonna not listen to me, while you're sitting in the pew, I'm still gonna be preaching.
Yeah.
If you decide that, man, I'm just sick of them. I'm just gonna try to get everybody in the church to leave. Guess what? I'm still gonna be preaching.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna be singing. I'm still gonna do what I do, man, because at the end of the day, man, I believe that God has destined me for this.
Yeah.
He's destined me to do this. He's put me in some uncharted territory. That's how I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
And so, bruh, I keep singing, I keep preaching, I keep being me
Yeah.
because that's what got me here.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Love it, man. Good stuff. Definitely great insight just to how you got started and just how, because that definitely impacts where you are now. You always kind of go back to, man, that because reflection is critical with faith. I tell the congregation all the time, a key component of faith is remembering. We talk about
Yeah,
the Lord's Supper. This do in remembrance of me. So, even for us personally in ministry and preaching, it's good every now and then to go and reflect back on, man, where I started. It gives you appreciation for where you are now and where God is taking us, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, man.
yeah.
Lastly, um, this is I always try to give an opportunity for every guest, man, just to share a thought, an encouraging word to the viewers, man. There may be some members of your congregation watching. There may be some family watching, some friends. There may be some other people around in the brotherhood watching. There may be some people who are not churchgoers at all, who may be just they checking out the online. You know what I'm saying? Um, or those who just don't believe in God at all. That's a real thing too.
Hmm.
Because this is a different medium, and so what would you advise them and us on just how to improve the relationship? Because the whole goal of this is to improve the relationship between minister, member, pastor, and people can be inclusive of anybody. So what would you say, to this audience?
Man, the biggest component of the minister member relationship is understanding each other.
Hmm.
Um, I think that if you don't understand who you're trying to influence, you'll never influence them at all. And if you can't influence them, then on this walk of life called ministry, all you've done is take a walk because you haven't done anything else. And so at some point in the game, man, you have to be able to understand who it is you're trying to influence. And within understanding who you want to influence, it's important for them to be able to even see a piece of you. When I say a piece of you, I mean, it's not that you don't want to show them who you are,
Hmm.
but you want to show them a piece of you that maybe you wouldn't reveal to other people. And I think that it's really important for you to be vulnerable to your members. I think it's
Hmm.
super important for you to be vulnerable. Let them know that you are just as imperfect as they are, because when they can see a real you, you will actually be able to you'll actually have real influence over the real them.
Right.
Because many members that come in church, man, you know this from experience, man. They come in church and they'll show you what they want you to see, but
Hmm.
that's not the real them.
Yeah.
And the only way for you to really get the real them is when you show them the real you. And I know some people would say, well, man, that's not practical for you to show people the real you. But the thing is that you can pretend ministry if you like,
Hmm.
and you can allow the people to see an individual that is high and that got it all together.
Right.
But the same people who will celebrate you are the same people that'll step on you.
Hmm.
And so, the one thing that I found is that when the people know you and the people can identify you and they can see you and they can see themselves and they can see themselves in you when you make a mistake. Because here's the honest to God truth. The man behind the ministry is going to make some mistakes.
Hmm.
And so if the people can celebrate you because of your transparency,
Yeah.
they'll be more willing to pick you up because of how transparent you were. And so, man, I just advise anybody, man, that I get an opportunity to get in front of, man, is that be you and be honest.
Hmm.
And from there, man, the people will lift you, they will drive you, they will help you, they will pick you up.
Hmm.
And man, you don't have to be high and mighty in church anymore, man. That's church in the '90s, man. If you're still trying to be high and mighty in here in 2022, man, you're living 30 years ago, and that's not gonna profit you nothing, because just like they stepped on them guys in the '90s, they'll step on you now too. And so,
Yeah,
man, just be the real you. Be the real you.
that's good. And also, it's a different audience now with different
Yeah,
needs. And I think
yeah,
what's people in the church, Bible scholars, unchurched, people look for genuineness. That's what resonates most. Do do I feel connected to you?
hmm
One of the things I love, with discernment, is hearing when people say, you know what, you're really approachable.
hmm
That's what you want. Like, yes, there is um, some separation there, with the times where it's necessary, but I believe in being a man of the people. And so I just love
yeah,
how you described it, man. Definitely appreciate that insight, man. Brother, you've blessed us, man. You
yes,
have
sir,
blessed
man.
us immensely, man. We appreciate you for just allowing us to step into your house, to your ministry, just to your life, for a minute. Tell my sister and the kids we appreciate them loaning you to us for for this time that we've been blessed. And so I know
Absolutely.
personally I'm blessed, and I know all those who will be viewing or even replaying, man, they're going to be blessed, man. Well, that definitely concludes us here. Jeremy, before we close, tell us, how can we find you? If we're in the Arizona area or even online, how can we find you in the ministry?
Man, oh my goodness, man. Go to Mesa Church, mesachurch.org. That's how you can find us, man. Or you can go to YouTube, Mesa Church of Christ. You can go to our Facebook, Mesa Church of Christ. Man, the best way to get to us, man, is our website, mesachurch.org. It has everything that you need
Mm-hmm.
to reach us. You can actually view us online from our website as well. 10:30 Mountain Time during the
Mountain
fall
time.
backwards, man, or 10:30 Pacific Time during the spring forward. Because we don't move times around here, man. So I
I'm
gotta
learning.
gotta give that caveat, or you'll miss us. But yeah, man, just we look forward to all that will come and that will view and that will take part in what we do at Mesa, man. We're a church that is trying to grow in Christ, serve in love, and equip for life, man. So yeah, come by, visit us in person or online. We're available and we're ready to serve.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, that concludes this episode. Again, if you haven't done so, if this is blessed in any way, like it, share it. Somebody can be blessed by this online experience. Again, Pastor Gills, we appreciate you. Until next week, again, that's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We do move. Okay, so we do move out here, in the middle of the country. So 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, we'll see you next week. Peace.
Man, y'all be blessed. It's awesome, man.